The metallic taste of betrayal is sharper than any physical pain. I discovered this truth 3 days before what should have been the happiest day of my life, my mating ceremony to Marcus, Alpha of the Silvercrest Pack. As I lay paralyzed in a hospital bed, my spine shattered by a car that came out of nowhere, I learned that the accident destroying my body was nothing compared to the one about to destroy my soul. Through the haze of medication, their voices drifted to me with crystal clarity.
Welcome to Luna's Romance Stories. Read the entire novel in one go. Message or comment to tell me what kind of story you'd like to read. Subscribe to the channel for daily updates. Luna reminds you, the story begins now.
Though they believed me unconscious, lost in the fog of painkillers and trauma. Alpha, if we operate now, there is still a chance. The healer's voice trembled with urgency, and I could hear the shuffle of his feet against the sterile floor. Wait any longer, and Cassandra will be paralyzed for life. Even if you want Vivienne to take her place as Luna, you don't need to destroy her this way. She has been nothing but devoted to you. The silence that followed felt endless, stretching like a chasm between hope and devastation. Marcus's response cut through me like ice, each word a blade. Her paralysis is convenient. I'll care for her, she'll be too weak to interfere at the ceremony. I promised Vivienne I'd bring our daughter into Silvercrest Pack with honor. Only when Cassandra is completely helpless will she stop being a threat and accept raising the child as her own. My heart stopped, daughter, their daughter. A single tear escaped, soaking into the pillowcase beneath my head. I willed myself to remain still, to keep my breathing steady, even as my world collapsed inward. 5 years of devotion, of building a future together, of believing in his love, all of it a carefully constructed lie. Every tender word, every promise whispered in the dark, every moment I thought we were building something real, it had all been nothing but smoke and mirrors. Proceed as planned, Marcus continued, his voice devoid of emotion, as clinical as if he were discussing pack finances. The hysterectomy must be thorough. She can never know. Once she wakes, I'll take her to select a child from the orphanage. Without the ability to bear children herself, she'll pour all her love into raising Emma. It is better this way, cleaner. The healer's protest was weak, resigned. Alpha, please reconsider. The Luna is already losing the use of her legs. If you take her womb too, and your daughter with Vivienne is 3 years old now. She looks exactly like you. What if Cassandra, she won't discover anything, Marcus interrupted smoothly, with the confidence of someone who had planned every detail. Once she is paralyzed, she'll be confined to Silvercrest Manor. I promised Vivienne a proper ceremony, promised to raise our pup in the pack. Even though Vivienne married someone else, I owe her this much. She sacrificed her reputation for me. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tear the IV from my arm and confront him, to claw at his face until he felt even a fraction of the pain tearing through my chest. But my body wouldn't respond, whether from the medication or the injury. I couldn't move. The healer sighed heavily, and I heard him move closer to my bedside. Cassandra is a good woman, you grew up together. She left everything behind to be with you, her pack, her family's business overseas, her entire life. Why must you? Never mind. I'll do as you say, but I want you to know, Alpha, that what you are doing is cruel beyond measure. Make it clean, Marcus ordered, ignoring the healer's moral objection. Don't let her suffer unnecessarily while she is unconscious. She deserves that much, at least. The irony of his words would have made me laugh if I weren't drowning in anguish. After the healer left, I heard Marcus pull out his phone. Through my barely open eyes, I watched him pace the room, his jaw tight with tension, though not. I realized from guilt, his voice message to his beta was casual, almost bored. The driver kept quiet, correct, as agreed. Give his family $2 million and relocate them immediately. Make sure they understand the consequences of talking. Cassandra can never trace this back to us. The accident needs to remain exactly that, an accident. Tears flowed freely now, though I kept my eyes mostly closed, my face turned slightly away from him. The ceremony I dreamed of for 5 years was nothing but a stage for Vivienne. The accident that destroyed my body was no accident at all, but a calculated move to eliminate an obstacle. Every promise, every tender moment, Every time he held me and told me I was his future, all of it a beautiful mirage hiding an ugly truth. I tried to open my eyes, to confront him, to demand answers, but I felt the sudden prick of a needle in my arm. The anesthesia flooded my system like ice water through my veins. Before darkness claimed me, Marcus pressed a cold kiss to my forehead, a kiss that felt more like a brand than an expression of love. "It'll be over soon, Cassandra. I'll be waiting when you wake. Everything will be exactly as it should be." As consciousness slipped away, his words echoed in my mind, twisting into something sinister. Everything as it should be for him, perhaps, for Vivienne. But for me, my life as I knew it was ending on this operating table. When cold surgical instruments violated my body, when they took from me the ability to ever carry a child, my heart froze into something unrecognizable, something hard and sharp and determined. If Marcus thought a broken body would make me compliant, he was about to learn how wrong he was. I woke to find Marcus at my bedside, his expression perfectly crafted into worry and devotion. Dark circles shadowed his eyes, and his usually immaculate appearance was disheveled, shirt wrinkled, hair uncombed. The performance of a devoted mate keeping vigil. He took my hand the moment my eyes opened, pressing it against his stubbled cheek with what seemed like genuine relief. "Cassandra, thank the moon you are awake," his voice cracked with emotion. "Are you in pain? Tell me where it hurts and I'll have the healer." "I am fine." I managed to smile, letting my fingers brush his jaw, feeling the rasp of stubble against my skin. Inside, I felt nothing but a cold, empty space where my love for him used to live. "You look exhausted. You should rest." Relief flooded his features, so profound that for a moment I almost believed he cared. "I couldn't leave you. I've been here the entire time, God, Cassandra. You scared me so badly when they said you might not wake up." He fell asleep moments later, still holding my hand, leaning against the bed. His breathing evened out quickly, the sleep of someone whose conscience was clear, whose deceptions remained intact. I watched him for a long moment, studying the face I'd loved for 5 years. He looked peaceful, innocent. Nothing like the monster who'd orchestrated my destruction. Carefully, slowly, I reached for his phone on the nightstand. The lock screen showed our engagement photo, both of us radiant with manufactured happiness. Or at least his happiness had been manufactured. Mine had been painfully real. My fingerprint still unlocked his phone. He hadn't even bothered to change that. His messaging app was still open, the pinned contact labeled. My hands trembled as I opened the chat history. Each message was a knife between my ribs. "Emma kept calling for Daddy today. She already knows her daddy is handsome. She'll definitely be obsessed with looks when she grows up. Emma finished the whole cake you sent. Such a good appetite. She is growing so fast. Soon she'll be asking why Daddy doesn't live with us. Emma is begging to go to the amusement park with Daddy. She won't stop crying. Can you visit when you are free? I know the ceremony preparations must be keeping you busy, but she misses you so much." Marcus hadn't replied to most of the messages in text, but beneath each one were video call records 2 hours long every single time. While I'd been alone in the manor, planning our ceremony, choosing flowers and menu items, he'd been on calls with his daughter. His secret daughter. He'd once told me he didn't like children, that he wasn't ready to be a father, that we had all the time in the world. Now I understood. He didn't dislike children. He just didn't want children from my womb. He already had the child he wanted with her. I scrolled further, my breath catching as I found a separate album on his phone, password protected. The password prompt asked for a significant date. I tried our engagement date wrong, our first date wrong. Then, with shaking fingers, I tried Emma's birthday, calculated from the messages. The album opened. Over 5,000 photos documented 3 years of her life. Emma as a newborn, tiny and red-faced, cradled in Marcus's arms. Emma's first steps, reaching for him with pudgy hands. Emma at her first birthday party, smash cake all over her face while Marcus laughed in the background. Every holiday, every milestone, Marcus had been there for all of it. There were photos of the 3 of them together, Marcus, Vivienne, and Emma, looking like the perfect family. In one, they were at a beach, Emma building sandcastles while Marcus and Vivienne watched, sitting close together. In another, they were at what looked like a private cabin. snow falling outside the windows, the three of them by a fireplace. All while I'd been waiting at home, believing his excuses about pack business and late meetings. The second conversation thread was with the ceremony planner. I opened it with a sense of grim inevitability, already knowing what I'd find. From the moment preparations began a month ago, every detail bore Vivienne's name. The wedding gown was in her size, not mine. The menu featured her favorite dishes she'd mentioned in their private conversations. Dishes I recognized from the times Marcus had claimed to be trying new restaurants for the ceremony. The invitations showed both their handwriting, Marcus's bold script, and Vivienne's delicate cursive, intertwined like lovers' fingers. There were photos of them together at the venue, Vivienne gesturing to decorations while Marcus nodded approvingly. She wore the soft smile of someone who'd already won. From the very beginning, he never intended for me to stand beside him at that altar. I laughed a broken, hollow sound that caught in my throat and closed the interface. My hands shook so badly I nearly dropped the phone. Then, with cold determination, I contacted my best friend abroad. Lily picked up on the first ring. "Cass, it is 3 a.m. here. What is wrong? I need your help." My voice sounded strange to my own ears, flat, emotionless. "Can you arrange surgery at an overseas pack hospital and help me erase all my registration information from Silvercrest Pack's records?" There was a long pause. Then, "Did you finally see through that bastard?" "Yes, thank God." Her voice cracked with relief. "I've been waiting for this call for years. Consider it done. I'll have everything arranged by tomorrow. Can you travel? I'll make it work." After hanging up, I carefully placed Marcus's phone back exactly as I'd found it. Then I deleted all evidence of my calls from my own phone. I looked at Marcus's sleeping face one last time. In sleep, he looked younger, more like the boy I'd fallen in love with all those years ago. That boy was gone now, if he'd ever really existed at all. I closed my eyes and slipped back into sleep, my heart encased in ice. Marcus's anguished crying woke me. He clutched a hospital report in trembling hands, his shoulders shaking with what appeared to be genuine grief. Tears streamed down his face as he looked at me with devastation in his eyes. "Cassandra," his voice broke convincingly, "the healer discovered during examination that you were born without a uterus. You can't have children." He pressed the report against his chest as if the news pained him physically. "But I'll never abandon you. You are still my mate, no matter what. When you are discharged, we'll hold our ceremony and adopt a child together. With a pup to love, you'll heal. I promise you'll be happy again." His grief seemed so genuine, his devastation so real. The tears, the trembling voice, the way he couldn't meet my eyes, it was a masterclass in deception. I was almost impressed by the performance. He crawled onto the bed beside me, pulling me into his arms with desperate tenderness. "I love you, Cassandra. Nothing changes that. Not this, not anything. You are everything to me." Inside his embrace, I felt nothing but revulsion, but I let him hold me, let him believe his lies had landed. After a long silence, I looked at the report in his hands and slowly nodded. "I understand." Marcus pulled me closer immediately, his eyes reddening with fresh tears. "I'll take care of you. Don't be afraid. No matter what the pack says, I'll always stand by your side. After the ceremony, I'll transfer half the pack's assets to you as security. You'll never want for anything. I'll spend the rest of my life making you happy." Our chests pressed together, but our hearts beat to entirely different rhythms. His no doubt was racing with triumph. Mine was steady, cold, calculating. Finally, Marcus spoke hesitantly, as if the words pained him. "It is just everything for the ceremony is already prepared. With your current condition, I am afraid we'll have to find someone to take my place," I interrupted calmly, my voice steady. "Don't let Silvercrest Pack lose face. You've worked too hard on the preparations to cancel now." I knew exactly what he wanted to say. Better to take control of the narrative than wait for humiliation. Surprise flickered across his face, quickly replaced by poorly concealed satisfaction. His wish was coming true. He couldn't be bothered to question my sudden cooperation or wonder why I wasn't devastated by the news. "Are you sure?" he asked. But there was hope in his voice, barely disguised. I don't want you to feel. I am sure the pack comes first. It always has. I smiled at him, and he smiled back, relief written across every feature. His phone rang, shattering the moment. He glanced at the screen, and I saw his expression shift from satisfaction to sudden alarm. Cassandra, why are you canceling your pack registration? My heart rate spiked, but I kept my face serene. Just updating some outdated information online. Nothing important. You know how those systems are always needing maintenance. He studied me for a moment, and I held my breath, wondering if I'd made a fatal mistake. Then he relaxed, pulling me closer with exaggerated tenderness. You are in a wheelchair now. Whatever you need done, just tell me. I'll handle everything. You shouldn't be stressing about administrative details. The condescension in his voice made me want to scream. Marcus, I said softly, touching his arm with what I hoped looked like affection. I want to leave the hospital. His body tensed immediately. Number absolutely not. You haven't recovered. I can't allow it. I tugged gently at his sleeve, forcing a smile that made my face ache. Didn't you say you wanted to take me to adopt a child? The servants at home can care for me just as well as the nurses here. I want to visit the orphanage. I want to meet our future daughter, please. In 5 years together, I'd never acted coquettish with him before. I'd always prided myself on being independent, strong, equal. Now I understood that had been a mistake. He liked his women weak and compliant. Marcus couldn't resist the novelty. His eyes softened, and he stroked my hair with what might have passed for tenderness. You really want this? I do. I want to start healing. I want to move forward with you. He agreed with a soft sigh, kissing my forehead. All right, tomorrow. We'll go tomorrow. On the drive to the orphanage, Marcus presented me with an array of cakes he'd prepared in advance, his expression eager as he gestured to the passenger seat. I bought these specially for you. I know you haven't been eating well in the hospital. You need to keep your strength up. But the label on each box read, suitable for cubs aged 3-4 years. Not even the right size for an adult. Not my favorite flavors. Everything chosen for someone else entirely. I closed the bag and tossed it to the back seat, closing my eyes and feigning nausea. The smell is too sweet. It is making me sick. Oh, of course. I am sorry. But he didn't sound sorry. He sounded distracted, eager to reach our destination. This 5-year deception was finally ending, and I would be the one to write its conclusion. The moment we entered the orphanage, a little girl ran straight to Marcus and wrapped her arms around his leg, calling him Daddy with practiced ease and genuine joy. Daddy, Daddy, you came! You finally came! Marcus's expression shifted to panic, his eyes wide as he looked at me. Don't misunderstand. Silvercrest Pack sponsors this orphanage in my name. I've visited a few times. This child is an orphan who has become attached to me. Children do that. Sometimes they latch onto familiar faces. The lie came so smoothly, so naturally. How many times had he practiced it? I smiled and nodded, reaching down to touch the girl's face. She had his eyes, the same deep amber, the same shape, his nose, his smile. She looks just like you, I said, my voice carefully neutral. If you hadn't explained, I would have thought she was yours. What is her name? Emma, he said quickly, too quickly. The one I am planning to adopt. I thought it would be easier if she already knew me. Before he could elaborate, Emma began crying for her mother, reaching toward the building with desperate little hands. Mommy, where is Mommy, Daddy? Where is Mommy? Marcus paled, his brow furrowing as he looked at me anxiously, trying to gauge my reaction. I am fine, I smiled calmly, though inside I was screaming. Go comfort her. She is adorable. I like her too. We'll make a good family. Relief washed over him like a wave. He carried Emma into the office without another word, practically fleeing from my presence. I excused myself to find the restroom, but instead lingered outside the office door, where several staff members were gossiping loudly, their voices carrying clearly through the thin walls. What is the alpha thinking? Making his own daughter pretend to be an orphan. Those clothes are haute couture, more expensive than our 6-month salary combined. Did you see that coat? That is designer. The alpha is paving the way to get the child into Silvercrest Pack legitimately. Be smart when Luna's around. Don't slip up, or we'll all lose our jobs. Just play along with the orphan story. The Alpha only has eyes for Vivienne anyway. Back in college, they always volunteered here together. I knew something was going on between them the way they looked at each other. Now they're alone in that room. Who knows what they're doing? Poor Luna probably has no idea. Their suggestive laughter made it hard to breathe. I pressed my hand against the wall, steadying myself. I wheeled my chair closer to the door and heard familiar voices inside, speaking in low, intimate tones. "Is he treating you well?" Marcus's voice, soft with concern. "Well enough." Vivienne laughed lightly, and I could picture her tossing her hair the way she used to in college. "He is abroad most of the time, doesn't pay much attention. Actually, it is better this way, he won't discover Emma's situation. Though lately he has been pressing me to have a child with him. I keep making excuses." Marcus chuckled, though his voice held a trace of bitterness. "Once Emma enters Silvercrest Pack, you won't have to worry anymore. You can divorce him then. Come home where you belong. Message me if anything comes up." There was a pause, the sound of a box opening. "And here, this bracelet is a ceremony gift for you. Something to remember the day by." "Another gift." Vivienne's voice was playful, teasing. "Since your engagement, you've given me enough jewelry to fill a walk-in closet. Won't Cassandra be upset? Won't she wonder where all your money goes?" Despite her words, I heard no sound of her refusing the gift. "Cassandra trusts me," Marcus said, and I could hear the smile in his voice. "She doesn't ask questions, she never has." Emma laughed and threw herself into Vivienne's arms, calling Mommy with pure affection and joy. "Mommy, look what Daddy brought." The director rushed past me without noticing, hurrying inside. I heard her apologizing profusely. "I am so sorry, Alpha." The child slipped away from the attendants. When Marcus emerged and saw me in the hallway, panic flashed in his eyes. "Cassandra, what are you doing here?" "Don't misunderstand. Vivienne volunteers at this orphanage. She just happened to be here today." We were discussing Emma's adoption. Vivienne appeared behind him, holding Emma in her arms. She waved at me with a gentle smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Cassandra, it has been a while. You look well." I sat in my wheelchair, smiled, and nodded, swallowing the grief rising in my throat. "It is fine. I was just looking around since you are busy. I won't disturb you. I'll wait in the car." I turned and left before my composure could crack, before the tears threatening to fall could betray me. Marcus hurried after me, desperate to explain, his hand on my wheelchair. "Don't misunderstand, she volunteers here often. All the children call her Mommy. It doesn't mean anything. Once the adoption is complete, I'll explain everything to Emma. She'll call you Mommy too." Watching him pretend to care about my feelings made me want to laugh, or scream, or both. To get his daughter legitimately into the pack, he'd orchestrated a car accident that left me disabled. Now that his plan had succeeded, what was this performance for? Did he enjoy watching me suffer? Did it make him feel powerful? "Don't worry," I said softly, my voice empty of emotion. "I am not unreasonable. Handle the paperwork properly. I'll wait in the car." He relaxed visibly, relief flooding his features. He watched me return to the vehicle, making sure I was settled before heading back inside, no doubt to resume his tender reunion with his real family. Every passing staff member looked at me with eyes full of mockery and pity. The crippled Luna who didn't know her mate had a whole secret life. The fool who believed in love. I ignored them all and continued processing my identity cancellation on my phone, methodically erasing every trace of my connection to Silvercrest Pack. When the confirmation message arrived, I felt nothing but cold satisfaction. To celebrate Marcus bringing Emma home, Silvercrest Pack held a family banquet. The manor buzzed with preparation, all morning servants rushing about, decorations being hung, the finest dishes being prepared. I used my health as an excuse to rest upstairs, but laughter from below still seeped through the door, the pack elders chatting and laughing with Vivienne, their words occasionally laced with mockery about me. Such a shame about the Luna. Well, accidents happen. At least the Alpha has found joy again. That Vivienne is so graceful, so perfect for him. I moved my wheelchair to the stair landing, hidden in the shadows where I could observe without being seen. Below, Marcus carefully placed Emma's favorite dishes on her special plate, a pink princess plate I'd never seen before, clearly bought just for her. Vivienne teased that he would spoil the child, her hand resting on his arm with casual familiarity. Marcus didn't mind, reaching out to adjust the small crown in Emma's hair, his eyes overflowing with tenderness I'd never seen directed at me. That is my daughter. Even if she tears down the sky, it is because she is capable. She can have anything she wants. Emma giggled, basking in her father's adoration. An elder's comment shattered what remained of my composure. Such a shame the alpha is stuck with that cripple from the moon shadow pack. Thank the moon he at least has this beautiful child to care for. A real heir, not some broken mate. Another elder agreed, exactly. What good is a Luna who can't even provide an heir? At least now he has Emma. She'll make a fine addition to the pack. I rushed back to my room, my hands shaking so badly I could barely steer the wheelchair. Once inside, I tore apart everything Marcus had given me over 5 years' jewelry, clothes, love letters, photos, throwing it all viciously into the trash. Every gift was a lie. Every promise was poison. The moment the trash can overturned, scattering debris across the floor, Vivienne appeared at my door. She must have been watching, waiting for this moment. She kicked over my wheelchair without warning, sending me crashing to the floor. Excruciating pain shot through my back where the injury was still healing, making me break out in cold sweat. Yet she wore a victor's smile, standing over me like a queen surveying a conquered enemy. Cassandra, being a cripple must be painful, right? Her voice dripped with satisfaction, with venom. After all these years, you are still so pathetic. Watching the ceremony that should have been yours bear my name, watching your alpha bring home my child, and you can only swallow your broken teeth and blood. Even I feel sorry for you. Well, not really, but I shouldn't I? I struggled to crawl back toward my wheelchair, but my arms shook with pain and effort. Vivienne laughed, the sound cruel and sharp. He was always mine, you know, from the very beginning. That night 3 years ago wasn't an accident. I planned it. I made sure I got pregnant, and you were so trusting, so stupidly devoted you never even suspected. You are pathetic, I managed, my voice hoarse. Maybe. But I am pathetic with his child. With his love, what do you have? She leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. You have nothing. You are nothing. And soon, you won't even have him. Before I could respond, Vivienne stepped back and deliberately fell toward the staircase, her body tumbling with practiced precision close enough to the edge to look dangerous, but carefully controlled. She screamed, the sound echoing through the manor. Before I could react, before I could even process what had happened, Marcus had already caught her in his arms, turning to me with eyes blazing with alpha fury. Cassandra, are you insane? What do you think you are doing? Vivienne came upstairs to kindly call you for dinner, and you attack her. The pack elders crowded behind him, glaring at me with disapproval and disgust. Emma stood nearby, crying loudly, her small face red with theatrical distress. Bad woman, this bad woman hurt Mommy. I don't want her in our pack. I only want Mommy. Send her away. Vivienne leaned weakly against Marcus's shoulder, her voice fragile as a whisper, trembling with manufactured tears. I am sorry, Marcus. I just told Cassandra I'd stand in for her at the ceremony, but I didn't expect it would upset her. Don't blame her. She didn't mean it. She has been through so much. I lay sprawled on the floor, pain radiating through my spine, and I couldn't help it. I laughed, a cold, broken sound. Marcus, I said clearly, my voice cutting through the accusations and tears. The ceremony, the car accident, the child. Don't you owe me an explanation for all of this? Marcus frowned, panic flashing in his eyes, but he remained stubborn, defensive. Explain what? You had the accident yourself, the driver lost control. What does it have to do with Vivienne? She kindly agreed to stand in for you at the ceremony. Instead of being grateful, you attack her. Cassandra, when did you become like this? When did you become so cruel? Apologize to Before I could speak, before I could defend myself, Marcus's father darkened his expression, stepping forward with cold authority. Can't even behave when you are already a cripple. Do you really think you are still special just because you are the only daughter of Moonshadow Pack's Alpha? Your pack isn't even here anymore. They moved overseas and left you behind. You are nothing now, Marcus's mother added viciously, her voice sharp with malice. Besides my son, who else would want useless waste like you? This is your comeuppance. You should be grateful he is willing to keep you at all. Quick, take Vivienne to the pack hospital. Make sure the child isn't hurt. My nails dug deep into my palms as I struggled to maintain composure. Marcus carried Vivienne with one arm and held Emma's hand with the other, leaving the manor without a backward glance. Not one look at me lying broken on the floor. Emma turned back at the doorway, sticking her tongue out at me with childish cruelty before skipping after her parents. 5 years of love turned to ashes in that moment. The servants eventually came to help me up, their hands rough and resentful. They dumped me back in the wheelchair without care, leaving me alone in the empty room. I dragged myself to the window, watching the car disappear down the drive. Then I booked a flight for the day of the ceremony and checked into a hotel outside the city. That night, lying in the anonymous hotel bed, Marcus sent a message. Vivienne still has to stand in for you at the ceremony. You hurt her, and it won't look good if she is injured at the altar. Making you apologize was just temporary. For appearances, don't overthink it. Don't take what my parents said to heart, you know how they are. After the ceremony, I'll make them apologize to you. Rest well, I've prepared a surprise for you on the ceremony day. You'll love it. But I knew this performance wasn't for Vivienne's benefit. It was for mine. This false affection he'd been acting out for 5 years was finally ending. I didn't respond. For the next 2 days, I didn't return to the manor. Marcus didn't come back either, too busy perfecting every detail of his ceremony with Vivienne. I spent the time planning, researching, making calls, setting my trap on the morning of the ceremony. I called him one last time. He was instructing his beta, barely paying attention to me. I could hear the bustle of activity in the background, people moving, music playing, the sound of a celebration about to begin. Alpha, are you sure you want to transfer half the pack's assets to the Luna? His beta asked, doubt clear in his voice. She is not from Silvercrest Pack. Won't this cause dissatisfaction among the elders? They already question her worth. Do as I say, Marcus's voice carried undeniable authority. Half is the compensation I promised her. The other half is for the child, for Emma's future. You personally receive the ceremony guests, especially those from Moonshadow Pack. Don't let them come and cause trouble. Actually, check if anyone's even coming from there, I doubt it. After the beta left, Marcus remembered I was still on the call. Cassandra, sorry for making you wait. The ceremony is about to start. I'll come back to be with you immediately after. Don't be upset. This will all be over soon, and things can go back to normal. I looked at the plane ticket in my hand, my voice expressionless. Then go ahead and get busy. I won't disturb you, Marcus. I paused, letting the silence stretch. Congratulations on your wedding. He was stunned for a second, confusion in his voice. What do you mean? It is congratulations on your wedding to Vivienne. I hope you'll be very happy together. Cassandra, what are you talking about? Don't be ridiculous. Just wait for me at home, I hung up. Then I turned and boarded the plane, my heart steady and cold. When the text confirming successful cancellation of my pack identity came through, I deleted all his contact information without hesitation. The 5-year lie was finally over, and my new life was about to begin. The ceremony officially began, but an inexplicable unease gnawed at my chest, like a living thing, growing stronger with each passing moment. I stood on the stage beside Vivienne, her hand delicate in mine as we made our rounds toasting the guests. The chandeliers sparkled overhead, the music swelled, and everyone smiled at us with approval and congratulation. Yet my mind kept replaying that morning's phone call with Cassandra. The flatness in her voice, the finality of her words. Something in her tone had been off, too calm, too final, too much like goodbye. Go check where Cassandra is. I instructed my beta quietly, pulling him aside during a lull in the toasts. There is no way she wouldn't cause a scene when I am having a ceremony with someone else. She should be here, demanding explanations, making her presence known. It is not like her to be quiet. My beta nodded and slipped away, disappearing into the crowd. I forced a smile as another elder congratulated me, but the words felt hollow. Everything felt hollow. The champagne tasted like ash. The music seemed discordant. Vivienne squeezed my hand, leaning close to whisper, "What is wrong? You seem distracted." "Nothing, just..." I shook my head. Nothing. But it wasn't nothing. Something was wrong. I could feel it in my bones. Halfway through the proceedings, my beta burst through the doors, his face drained of color, his eyes wide with panic. "Alpha," his voice cracked. "Luna was on a flight this morning that crashed into the sea." The entire ceremony hall fell silent. The music stopped. Conversations died mid-sentence. The champagne glass slipped from my fingers, shattering against the marble floor with a sound that seemed to echo forever in the sudden quiet. For a moment, I couldn't process the words. They made no sense. Cassandra was supposed to be at home, safe, waiting. I grabbed my beta by the collar, my hands shaking, eyes wild with a rage that masked pure terror. "What did you say? Say it again. Where is Cassandra?" Vivienne tried to hold me back, her voice soft and concerned. "Marcus, don't be impulsive. Everyone's watching, and your parents are here. Whatever it is, let's discuss it after the ceremony ends." Marcus, you are making a scene." For the first time in 3 years, her concerned tone didn't soothe me. I shook off her hand violently, barely registering her shocked expression as I dragged my beta to a secluded corner. "What exactly happened to Cassandra?" My voice came out strangled, barely recognizable as my own. "She should be waiting for me at the manor. We talked this morning, and she clearly promised me she'd be there." Even I didn't notice the undisguisable tremor in my voice. I couldn't understand why I was so out of control. But the moment I heard Cassandra was in trouble, it felt as if all my strength had been drained away, leaving nothing but hollow terror. My beta fumbled with his phone, pulling up a news page with trembling hands. "Luna did board that flight, I just found out. These past few days, to prepare for your ceremony, all the manor's guards were transferred here. No one was watching over Luna. I checked her registration information. It is definitely this flight, and Alpha." He swallowed hard. "I also checked the manor's surveillance. Luna left 2 nights ago, the very night you left with Vivienne." My hand fell limply from his collar. The world tilted sideways for the first time in my life. I was overwhelmed by such profound helplessness that I could barely stand. My legs felt weak, my chest tight. "After a long while," I murmured, "that is impossible. Cassandra promised me she would wait at home for me to return. She even wished us a happy wedding." No, that is not right. The memory crystallized with horrible clarity. She said she wished Vivienne and me a happy wedding. Not our wedding. Vivienne and me, she'd already separated herself from me, and I'd been too busy, too distracted, too focused on my perfect ceremony to notice. My beta hesitated, his voice gentle. "Alpha, did Luna discover what you did? Otherwise, with her physical condition, she couldn't possibly leave at this time. The pain alone would have been excruciating. If that is really the case, then I am afraid." He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. I refused to believe it, shaking my head violently. "No, impossible. Cassandra wouldn't have found out. With her personality, if she knew something, she would definitely confront me immediately. She has never been one to suffer in silence, but she said nothing and didn't even message me these past 2 days. I already explained what happened at the banquet to her, and she didn't blame me at all." My voice rose to a shout, drawing stares from nearby guests. "She wouldn't just leave. I won't allow it. Find her. Use all of Silvercrest Pack's resources. Dig up the earth if you have to. But find her. I want to see her alive, and if she is dead." The word caught in my throat like glass. "If she is dead, I'll personally bring her back to the pack for burial." My beta paled and rushed to mobilize the search teams, pulling out his phone as he ran. Vivienne approached, still wearing that gentle, fragile expression, softly taking my arm with practiced delicacy. "What is wrong? Did something happen to Cassandra?" I knew she'd be upset about me standing in for her at the ceremony. But today is Silvercrest Pack's big day. Leaders from all the major families are here, and the elders are present too. No matter how angry she is, she shouldn't throw a tantrum at a time like this. Making up stories about plane crashes is just too willful. She is probably hiding somewhere, sulking, waiting for you to come find her. She continued with a practiced sigh. Marcus, you are just too indulgent with her. I understand, Cassandra. She doesn't have any friends here. Once she thinks things through, she'll naturally come back. Don't worry, the elders are still outside waiting for you to toast them. We can't keep them waiting. In the past, I might have believed her words and waited for Cassandra to come home and apologize obediently. Vivienne's gentle reasonableness had always been so soothing, so rational. But this time, my mind was filled with Cassandra's abnormal calmness on the phone, with the memory of her lying on the floor after Vivienne fell. With every moment, I dismissed her pain as drama. The churning emotions couldn't be suppressed anymore. I shook off Vivienne's hand violently, my expression cold as ice. Vivienne, I am warning you for the last time. You are merely standing in for Cassandra at this ceremony. Cassandra is my nominal mate, Silvercrest Pack's acknowledged Luna. It is not your place to address her so casually, or to speak of her with such disrespect. Resentment and malice flashed in Vivienne's eyes before she could mask it. For a moment, I saw something ugly beneath her gentle facade. Before she could respond, Emma ran up, tugging at my pants leg with sticky fingers. Daddy, Grandpa and Grandma are calling for you. Can we not worry about that bad woman? I want to see Daddy and Mommy together. I want you to dance with Mommy. Words bad woman made my expression darken further. I stared at Vivienne, seeing clearly for the first time. Did you teach Emma to say that? The child is still young, and this is what you teach her. If you don't know how to raise her properly, Emma will be looked after by the elders from now on. Don't interfere anymore. Without waiting for her objection, I turned and walked toward the hall, my mind racing. On my phone screen, news of the plane crash continued scrolling. Every headline made my heart constrict. Veins bulged on the back of my hand as I gripped the phone. The short walk from the hall entrance to the main seat was torture. Guests' voices carried through the crowd, each word a knife. I heard Vivienne is only attending the ceremony in Luna's place. Surely the Alpha wouldn't really spend his whole life with that cripple from Moonshadow Pack. He deserves better. How could he? Moonshadow Pack moved overseas long ago. Cassandra doesn't even have a single family member here to support her. For such a big event, not one person came from her family. The Alpha must have feelings for Vivienne. This is just going with the flow, making it official. Shh, keep your voice down. Luna is pitiful enough. The car accident destroyed her spine and took away her ability to bear children. She is completely worthless to the pack now. She was the sole heir of Moonshadow Pack, yet she has fallen to this state. Well, at least now the Alpha has Emma, a real heir, not some broken mate who can't. Even those words were like poisoned needles piercing my skull. Each comment made me see more clearly what I'd allowed to happen. How could this happen after the accident? I'd clearly ordered the news suppressed. The healer wouldn't talk. The perpetrator would never leak information. But why did the news still get out? Who had spread it? I hadn't seen Cassandra these past 2 days. What happened during this time? Was she bullied while I was busy planning a ceremony for another woman? Had she been sitting alone in that manner, hearing these whispers, knowing everyone knew she was broken, useless, unwanted? All these doubts clogged my chest, making it hard to breathe. When my parents saw me return, they both sighed in relief, then said something that made my blood run cold. Marcus, since Cassandra is already gone, it is time for Vivienne to officially become your mate. My father's voice was casual, as if discussing pack finances rather than my mate's death. Me mother agreed enthusiastically, clapping her hands together. Exactly, after all. Cassandra was just useless waste who served no purpose to the pack. Even looking at her was unlucky. You two should quickly complete the mate bond procedures. Silvercrest Pack hasn't had such a grand celebration in a long time. Once the ceremony ends, I'll have the servants clean out Cassandra's room and turn it into your bridal suite. We can redecorate it properly, something more befitting a real Luna. I stood frozen, looking at my parents' joyful faces. feeling intense disgust for the first time in my life. These people had raised me, shaped me, and I was realizing with horror that I'd become just like them. What bond? My voice was deadly quiet, but power rippled beneath it. Didn't Vivienne already form a mate bond with an alpha abroad? My mother glanced at me and chuckled, waving her hand dismissively. Oh, if we didn't say that. How would you believe it? It was all to get Emma legitimately into the pack. Vivienne willingly ruined her reputation by claiming she married a foreign alpha. Though really, what reputation did she have to ruin? Since you insisted on staying with that Cassandra, we had no choice. Anyway, that cripple is gone now. Perfect timing. Vivienne doesn't have to pretend anymore. From now on, you'll be true mates, as you should have been from the beginning. Those few sentences nearly shattered my sanity completely. My parents' smug expressions were like knives stabbing into my heart, twisting with each word. Everything the supposed marriage abroad, Vivienne's sacrifice, the whole elaborate story, all lies, all manipulation. I finally remembered that whenever I'd asked about Vivienne's mate abroad over the years, she always deflected with vague answers. There had never been any trace of this supposed mate on her social media. No photos, no mentions, no evidence at all. I was such a fool to only see through the lies now, to only question when it was too late. To get Emma through the door, I had personally killed the mate I was about to bond with. I had destroyed the one person who truly loved me, who had given up everything for me. Cassandra had no family in the country and stayed with Silvercrest Pack only for me. I had promised to be her support for the rest of her life, to never betray our relationship, to build a future together. But what had I done? Guilt and regret tore at my heart repeatedly, shredding it into pieces. After a long while, I spoke coldly, my voice carrying alpha authority that made my parents step back. My mate can only be Cassandra. Whether she is alive or dead, the mate bond I form will always be with her. I don't care whether Vivienne has formed a mate bond before. That night 3 years ago was a mistake, the biggest mistake of my life. If I had known it would result in Emma, I would never have had any involvement with her again. You wanted this ceremony, clean it up yourselves. My Luna, even if it costs me everything as an alpha, even if I have to search the ocean floor myself, I will find her. I turned to leave, my vision blurring with unshed tears. Vivienne caught up with Emma in her arms, tears streaming down her face in a performance I suddenly saw clearly for what it was. Marcus, Emma accidentally broke a glass and cut her arm. Where are you going? Could you please take the child to the healer first? She is bleeding, look. She is bleeding. Blood did drip from Emma's thin little arm, but it was a shallow cut, nothing serious. At the same time, my phone rang, my beta calling with what might be news about Cassandra. I didn't look at Vivienne again. Find the healer yourself. From now on, the child will be cared for by the elders. I have more important things to do than tend to superficial wounds. Emma's crying intensified, but I walked away without looking back. I left the ceremony venue with everyone staring, whispers following in my wake. I didn't care. Let them talk. Let them judge. None of it mattered if Cassandra was dead. As soon as I got outside, I answered the call, my voice trembling despite my attempts to control it. How is it? Did you find Cassandra? Tell me you found something. My beta sighed heavily, the sound full of pity. Alpha, we've searched everywhere. We only know Luna stayed at a hotel outside the city 2 nights before leaving, and we have her boarding records at the airport. Other than that, nothing. The surveillance at the airport shows her checking in, going through security. She looked calm, determined. You should ask the rescue team directly. After all this time, the body might already be. I hung up before he could finish, before he could say the word that would make it real. I didn't believe it. I refused to believe it. I didn't believe Cassandra would leave me and go alone, and I didn't believe she was on that flight. There had to be another explanation. She was too smart, too capable. She wouldn't give up like this. I jumped in my car and floored the accelerator toward the coast where the rescue operation was centered. But after 2 intersections, reality crashed through my denial. I suddenly slammed on the brakes and stopped by the roadside, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hold the steering wheel. I slapped myself hard across the face twice in frustration. welcoming the pain, needing it. I was the one who caused that car accident. I was the one who personally ordered the surgery. I was the one who stood by while she was mocked and humiliated. Cassandra's body was so weak now, still healing from what I'd done to her. Even a healthy person might not survive a plane crash. How could someone in her condition possibly have a chance? And if she did survive, if she was out there somewhere, would she even want to be found by me in my emotional breakdown? I pulled out my phone and opened my chat with Cassandra, my fingers fumbling, looking at that radiant, smiling profile picture for a moment. It felt like she was still by my side, about to send me a message asking about my day. I reached out, my fingertips trembling as I traced Cassandra's profile picture over and over again, as if I could somehow reach through the screen and touch her. Our chat history was still frozen at 2 days ago. That day I'd explained the banquet incident to her with sincere words, crafting careful lies, and she never replied. She would never do that before. No matter what she was doing, my messages always had special notifications, and she would always answer my calls immediately, even if just to say she'd call back. When did she start changing? I hadn't noticed at all. I'd been too busy with Vivienne, with Emma, with my carefully constructed web of lies. It seemed like everything gradually became different after the car accident. She'd become quieter, more withdrawn. I'd told myself it was the trauma, the adjustment to her disability. I'd been too stupid to see it was the truth finally revealing itself. Scrolling up through our chat history with shaking hands, it was filled with Cassandra's anticipation for the ceremony she had looked forward to for 5 years. Each message was a knife in my heart. Marcus, does this wedding dress look good? I want a sparkly gown, I can't waste these long legs of mine. Though I guess that doesn't matter now. Should I still get something sparkly? Should we take our wedding photos in this style, when we print them out? Let's hang them in the most prominent spot at the ceremony. I want the whole world to see my happiness, to see that I have such a loving mate. Marcus, the wedding ring we bought last time seems a bit too big. Can I exchange it for another one? Didn't you say you had a surprise for me? You didn't secretly design a wedding ring yourself, did you? You are so wonderful. I had indeed personally designed a wedding ring, but it was for Vivienne. I'd spent hours choosing the stone, selecting the setting, making sure it was perfect. Those gowns Cassandra tried on were nothing more than props to placate her, to keep her distracted while I planned a ceremony for someone else. The ceremony she had dreamed of for 5 years. I had been deceiving her from the very beginning, from the moment I proposed. Yet she never discovered it, always immersed in the joy of love, thinking she had found the most caring support in the world, thinking I was her forever. The excitement between the lines of her messages pierced my heart like needles, and I finally couldn't hold back, sobbing uncontrollably in the driver's seat of my car. Tears fell on the screen, spreading into a blurry puddle that obscured her words. I sent message after message to Cassandra, pouring out the love I had hidden for so long, expressing my guilt toward her, begging her to respond, to give me one more chance. Cassandra, I am so sorry. Please, if you can see this, just let me know you are alive. I was wrong about everything. I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you if you'll let me. Please don't be dead. Please, I can't lose you. I don't want to lose you. But when the messages went out, all I received were red exclamation marks. Cassandra had blocked me. She'd cut me out of her life as thoroughly as I'd tried to cut her out of mine. I didn't hesitate any longer, restarting the car and rushing to the rescue team's command center by the coast. But it was all too late. Everything was too late. The rescue team said they had found no trace of Cassandra in the sea. No body, no belongings. Nothing but wreckage and the names of the dead. Her name was on the passenger manifest. The flight had gone down. The chances of survival were 0. Me, Cassandra, was gone. And it was all my fault. Meanwhile, the plane I was supposed to be on had already landed safely at my actual destination. And I was already abroad, thousands of miles from Marcus's manufactured grief. That plane crash was deliberately orchestrated by me, or rather, the appearance of me being on a doomed flight, a trap specifically set for Marcus, using his own resources against him. The crash itself was real, but I'd changed my ticket at the last moment to a different flight, knowing he'd check the manifest but not the passenger confirmations. He wanted to cripple me, wanted me to live a life worse than death. wanted me to forever live in the lies he wove. So, as a parting gift, I gave him a present in return. The belief that he'd finally succeeded in destroying me completely. My best friend Lily came to pick me up at the airport. When she saw me sitting in a wheelchair, barely able to move without pain shooting through my spine, she immediately burst into tears. How did this happen? That bastard Marcus, didn't he promise he would take good care of you? Was it him? It had to be him, right, Cassandra? Can't you see his true face even now? Please tell me you are not still covering for him. I smiled, though it felt more like a grimace, and wiped the tears from the corner of her eye. I am fine. Look, aren't I perfectly okay before? I was the one who insisted on staying by his side, who believed his lies. Now this is just learning my lesson. I don't want to get entangled with him anymore. Leaving like this is actually good, clean, final. How did you arrange the surgery? I want to wait until I recover before returning to Moonshadow Pack. I don't want my family to worry or see me like this. Lily nodded eagerly, helping me into her car with gentle hands. Everything's arranged. I found the most authoritative healer here, the best in the country. He looked at your medical records and said the surgery has a high success rate, but we can't delay. The damage is extensive, but not irreparable. I'll take you there right now. The surgery lasted 5 hours of pain and uncertainty. The healer said, fortunately, we came in time. If we had delayed another 2 days, I might never have been able to stand again. The damage to my spine was significant, but hadn't reached the point of no return. Now I just needed to wait for my body to recover and slowly do rehabilitation training. Returning to normal life wouldn't be difficult, though it would take time and determination. I didn't deliberately follow domestic news anymore. Didn't search for information about Silvercrest Pack or Marcus, but the pack's reputation was too prominent. My phone kept pushing related news every day. Notifications I couldn't seem to turn off. Number at Silvercrest Pack's mating ceremony. The groom fled mid-ceremony, making Vivienne the laughingstock of the entire werewolf community. Number Marcus's parents issued a statement explaining that Vivienne was already Silvercrest Pack's Luna. But as soon as the statement was released, Marcus personally came forward to refute it, calling it unauthorized and untrue. Despite myself, I clicked on one of the articles. Marcus had registered an official account with the Pack Alliance, posted wedding photos of him and me, photos I'd never seen before, that must have been taken without my knowledge, and declared that his only mate for life would be Cassandra alone. Emma was taken back to Silvercrest Manor by Marcus. And according to the reports, he'd even threatened with his own life that he wouldn't allow Vivienne to set foot in the manor again, or he would destroy all of Silvercrest Pack's assets and leave Emma with nothing. Though his parents were unwilling, they couldn't go against their only son and had to comply with his demands. Vivienne's dream of marrying into wealth was completely shattered. The two families had completely fallen out and were fighting a custody battle over Emma that was playing out in Werewolf Court. But Marcus, as the child's father, never said a single word in Vivienne's defense. He didn't fight for custody. He didn't visit. He'd apparently abandoned both of them in his grief. Looking at the comments cursing Marcus, calling him unstable and unworthy of his position, I couldn't understand him anymore. All of this was the path he had chosen. He'd wanted Vivienne, wanted Emma legitimately in the pack, wanted me out of the way. Now that I was voluntarily stepping aside for him and Vivienne, now that I'd given him exactly what he'd been working toward, what was this belated affection really for? Was it guilt, genuine loss, or just wounded pride that I'd taken away his control by leaving on my own terms? I stopped clicking on domestic news and focused on recuperating in the ward, pushing myself through painful rehabilitation exercises. Lily came to take care of me almost every day, bringing books and gossip and normalcy, so the days weren't too boring. But Marcus's days were clearly the complete opposite. If the news was to be believed, after a week of not finding any trace of me, according to reports from pack members who leaked information to the press, he drank heavily every day, rarely sober. Later, he was rushed to the emergency room for a perforated stomach, nearly dying from alcohol poisoning. Facing the healer he had grown up with, he showed doubt for the first time. Did I make a mistake? His voice was hoarse from alcohol, according to the healer's later testimony and pack records that somehow made their way to me through Lily's sources. Cassandra isn't dead, is she? I've searched all the rescue teams, there is no body. The boarding information must be fake, right? Moonshadow Pack has immense power and influence. All of this is her punishment for me. The healer had sighed helplessly. I'll tell you the truth, Alpha. When Cassandra was unconscious before her first surgery, although she didn't open her eyes, her consciousness was clear. She knew everything you did during the surgery. I saw tears in the corners of her eyes. You broke her heart completely. She won't come back. And if she is alive somewhere, you should be grateful and leave her alone. The healer had continued, his words damning. I advised you from the beginning you and Cassandra were made for each other. You grew up together. She loved you completely. Vivienne was just a fleeting shadow from your college days. An infatuation that should have ended long ago. What should have ended should have ended. You've been living in past memories, and no one could wake you up. Cassandra's appearance was once your salvation. I thought your childhood bond wouldn't be disturbed by Vivienne, but you still made the wrong choice. The healer's voice had grown harder, angrier. Vivienne isn't a good person. Those ideas she gave you were meant to completely destroy Cassandra, but you were stubbornly blind to it. Now you have no way back. Do you really think that night abroad with Vivienne 3 years ago was a coincidence? You know the truth in your heart. From the moment you planted that seed, your relationship with Cassandra was already over. Only then did Marcus fully understand what he had missed, what he had lost. But it was all too late. According to Lily's sources, disregarding his post-surgery condition, Marcus had taken a taxi to the police station and filed a report, checking my new identity information through the police's cross-border registration system. Using every resource at his disposal, every connection, every favor owed, he'd tracked me across the world. A day later, he appeared outside my ward. At that moment, I was leaning on crutches, struggling through rehabilitation exercises. Each step was agony, fire shooting up my spine. But I gritted my teeth and kept going. The healer encouraged me. Just a few more steps, Luna. You are doing beautifully. Don't call me that, I said quietly. I am not anyone's Luna anymore. Through the window, I didn't see him. But later, the nurse told me he'd been there. He'd stood there, she said, tears falling uncontrollably, his exhausted eyes bloodshot and hollow. He looked like he'd aged 10 years in the week since I'd left. He didn't speak or make any sound, just hid behind the wall, staring blankly for a very long time. Watching me struggle through rehabilitation, watching me learn to walk again. Before leaving, he left a note for the nurse to give me. I read it once, twice, trying to feel something. It read, I will never appear before you again for the rest of my life. This is the last promise I can make to you. I am sorry. I am so sorry. I destroyed everything, and I know I can never make it right. I crumpled the note in my fist and threw it in the trash, watching it fall among used bandages and discarded medical supplies. Some promises come too late, and some hearts, once broken, can never be mended. My new life was just beginning. Each day I grew stronger, stood straighter, walked further. The physical therapy was brutal, but I welcomed the pain. It meant I was healing. It meant I was moving forward. And Marcus would have to live with what he'd done, forever. I stood outside the Moonshadow Pack territory, knowing I couldn't enter. Cassandra's family had made it clear I wasn't welcome. That if I set foot on their land, they'd treat it as an act of war. I deserved that. I deserved worse. Through binoculars, I watched her walk through the gardens with her family, her spine straight, her movements fluid and strong. She'd recovered completely, the healers abroad having done what I'd refused to allow. She laughed at something her brother said, the sound carrying on the wind. That laugh, I'd forgotten what it sounded like. How long had it been since she'd laughed like that with me? Had she ever? A young alpha approached her, offering his arm. She took it with a smile, and they walked together toward the pack house. My hands clenched around the binoculars, but I forced myself to lower them. I had no right to my jealousy, no right to my pain. This was what she deserved, a life without me, without my lies, without my betrayals. Still watching? Alpha, my beta, appeared beside me, his voice carefully neutral. She is happy, I said softly. Yes. Finally, he paused. The pack is asking when you'll return. They need their alpha. They have their alpha. I am just a ghost haunting the edges of my own life. I turned away from the view, away from Cassandra's happiness. Let's go. As we drove away, I touched the ring in my pocket, the one I'd designed for Vivienne, but never gave her. I'd melted it down and had it remade into something simple, something honest, something for a mate I'd never have again. Who was that watching from the border? My brother asked, his protective instincts sharp. I glanced in that direction, though I couldn't see anything from this distance. But I knew. Somehow, I knew. No one important, I said, and found I meant it. The young alpha beside me was kind, respectful, interested but not pushy. But not me, not yet. Maybe not ever. I'd learned that I didn't need a mate to be complete. I didn't need Marcus's love to have value. I didn't need anyone's approval to exist. I was enough, all by myself. And that was the greatest freedom of all. As we entered the pack house, I felt the phantom weight of a wedding ring I'd never worn, a ceremony that never was, a love that never existed. Then I let it all go. The past was ashes, but I was fire, and I was just beginning to burn bright. The end,